She did not scream when she found her husband face down in the Powder River. She only screamed when she saw Eli McRae come riding out of the dust the next morning. Lily Hart had been a widow for 3 months, and in Sheridan that was already long enough for folks to forget your name. But the fear in her eyes that morning made every ranch hand on the street look twice, even if none of them had the courage to ask why she had ridden through town with her dress torn and her hands shaking. She did not stop for anyone. She rode straight past the blacksmith, past the saloon where 2 men spat tobacco at her horse, past the church steps where the preacher gave her a pity nod she did not trust. She kept riding until she reached the one ranch everyone said belonged to a man who feared nothing. If this man turned her away, there would be nowhere else to go. Eli McRae. Most folks in Sheridan only whispered his name. Some called him a quiet storm. Others said he was the reason the old Bozeman Trail still had a sheriff. But what people agreed on was simple. If trouble came for you, and you had nowhere else to run, you rode to the McRae place and prayed he was in a good mood. Lily did not pray. She slammed her boots on the dirt and walked right up to him as he was feeding salt to a young roan. Eli looked up, slow as sunrise, and she swore his eyes could see every lie a man had ever told her. For the first time since the funeral, she felt like someone was really looking at her, not just at her black dress. He asked if she had been followed. She nodded. Then she told him everything she knew. The cut fences at her ranch near the foothills of the Bighorn Mountains, the rocks tossed into her well, the shadow that walked past her window at midnight, the voice outside her barn whispering that a woman alone could not hold land in Wyoming territory. Eli listened without blinking. The wind pushed dust across his boots. The roan flicked its ears like it understood trouble was coming. Out here, even the horses knew when a storm was about to break. And this did not feel like the kind that brought rain. When Lily finally said the name Harlan Voss, Eli's jaw tightened. Just once, like a man hearing an old bullet shift in a scar. He knew that name. Everyone did. Cattle king, land thief, man who claimed her husband's death had been an accident on the trail. Lily stepped closer. Her voice cracked. She said she did not come for pity. She came because someone wanted her land, and someone wanted her gone, and she needed a man who did not scare easy. Eli wiped his hands, looked at the mountains, then looked back at her like he was measuring how much fight she had left. He asked one question, a quiet one, the kind that decides the whole story before it even starts. "Are you ready for the truth that might come with this?" And Lily answered with a question of her own. "What if the truth is worse than the man who killed my husband?" Eli saddled up without another word, and Lily rode beside him all the way back to Hart Ranch, trying not to picture the look she had seen in his eyes when she said the name Harlan Voss. It was not fear. It was something colder, like a memory he did not care to revisit. By the time they reached the ranch, the afternoon sun was melting into that harsh Wyoming gold that made every shadow look sharper than it should. Lily kept talking to stop her mind from chasing ghosts. She pointed at the leaning fence, the scattered hay, the thump she had heard behind the barn. Eli only nodded, crouching to study footprints she had not noticed before. He did not explain anything. He never did, but when he straightened up, she saw it. Confirmation. Someone had been here. He walked to the front porch where a big bale of hay sat half broken, leaning against the old storage box Lily had been trying to drag that morning. She felt embarrassed just remembering it. She had grunted and pulled at that thing for a good 10 minutes before giving up. Eli tapped the side of it, testing the frame, then looked at her with a tiny smirk. "It is too big for you to drag. Too big. Just sit on it so I can see what is wrong with these braces." The way he said it made her roll her eyes, but her pulse still jumped a little. It was unfair how easy it was for an older man to do that, especially one who barely talked. She stepped toward the hay bale, lifted her skirt just enough not to trip, and got ready to sit so he could check the wood joints under it. That was when she heard it, a soft, dry shaking sound, something like beans rattling in a tin can. It came from right under her boots. Lily froze. Her breath caught in her throat. She glanced down. A fat rattlesnake slid out from the straw, its tail twitching, its head rising, eyes fixed on the place she had been about to sit. She gasped and stumbled back. heel catching the edge of the porch, and she pitched backward hard. Eli reached for her on instinct, and they both nearly went down. His arm locked around her waist to keep her upright, her hands clutching at his shirt as she pressed into his chest. Only then, with her breath still shaking against him, did he draw his revolver. One clean shot cracked the air. The snake dropped without even a twitch. Lily stared at the dead thing lying exactly where her legs had been. If she had sat down one heartbeat sooner, this story would have ended on that porch. Her skin crawled, her stomach flipped. And for the first time she wondered if the snake had truly wandered there on its own. Because when Eli picked up the body to inspect it, his face shifted in a way that made her blood run cold. Why did the snake have a rope mark around its tail? Eli held that dead rattlesnake like it was a clue from a crime scene, not an animal. Lily watched his eyes narrow, calm but sharp, the way an old tracker studies a print in the mud. He turned the body slightly, and there it was again. A thin line pressed deep into the scales on the tail, almost like someone had tied the snake up, carried it, and dropped it exactly where she was about to sit. Lily felt the hair on her arms rise, not from fear this time, but from anger she thought she had buried with her husband. Someone wanted her gone. Someone wanted her scared enough to run, or careless enough to die, and that someone knew exactly where she lived, where she walked, and where she sat in the mornings when she drank her coffee. Eli set the snake down and dusted his hands, slow and steady. He did not raise his voice. He did not curse. He did not even look surprised. He just looked tired of men who believed they owned the whole territory. He asked Lily if she had noticed anything missing, anything moved, anything out of place. She shook her head, though she remembered the hay bale leaning wrong and the fence rails tucked under it like someone had handled them in a hurry. Eli walked around the porch, studying boot marks. Lily followed, watching how he pointed with his chin at scuffed dirt, broken straw, little things she would never have spotted. Then he picked up one single boot print near the corner of the house, a print with a deep notch in the heel, the same kind of heel she had seen on the boots of Harlan Voss's trail boss. She swallowed hard. Eli did not say the name. He did not need to. Lily said it for him. It is Harlan. It has to be. Eli wiped his palms on his jeans, looked toward the far tree line, and let the silence fall between them. Some things do not need saying. Both of them already knew the only name that fit those tracks. He told her they would not wait for the next snake. They would not hope the sheriff would help. They would set the stage themselves, catch the man who thought he owned her land, and end this before someone ended her. The plan he laid out was simple, but it carried the kind of danger that made Lily's pulse drum in her neck. She was not the same woman she had been 3 months ago.